Battered, Broken, Healed is a foster care memoir from Maggie Hartley. This was originally released in 2018, and despite the fact I ordinarily don't care too much for the ones that are about babies, I just find the memoirs about slightly older children to be more interesting. This was a brilliant read and one that I really thoroughly recommend. It's about this little baby called Jasmine, and she's taken into care because of failure to thrive. She's underweight, she's not reaching her milestones, and social services decide the best thing to do is to take her into care while they investigate because it's unclear what exactly is going on. When they visited Jasmine's home, the home was clean and tidy, it was cold, but it didn't look like the typical home of a neglected child. And things are very questionable. And then we meet the parents, and the father is very confident within himself, and the mother has her head hung. She's very shy, she's timid, nervous, terrified, not able to make eye contact with anybody. Basically, the parents are polar opposites of each other, and the father is very demanding and demands that Jasmine is wearing her own clothes when they have contact, which is a reasonable request, except the clothes he gives to Maggie have seen significantly better days and nothing is adding up. What on earth is going on? I don't want to say any more than that because it is a really compelling read and I don't want to give too much away. But despite the fact I'm not that bothered about the ones about babies, this was really gripping. The story is really fascinating. It's completely, well, mostly unpredictable. I won't say completely unpredictable, but there's a lot in this that I hadn't expected. It is very well written, as I said, and from start to finish, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really don't want to say too much more about it because I don't want to give away any more. We also have a subplot with the two little girls, the twins that Maggie is fostering, who are getting ready for adoption. Honestly, I feel like that was padding. Whenever it cut to that part of the story, I was just thinking, please let's get back to the main narrative because I want to know what's happening with Jasmine and her parents. Whenever, certainly as it progressed. To begin with, it wasn't too bad, but as we got into the thick of the story, I didn't really care. This sounds horrible. I don't mean I don't care about the twins being adopted or what was happening with their adoption plans, but it definitely felt like filler just to say that Maggie also had this going on at the same time, which I think is a good way of highlighting that foster carers often have very full plates. And while Maggie's attention was so taken up by the drama surrounding Jasmine, drama that I won't go into, but she also had to look after these other little girls and help them on their journey with whatever life had in store for them next. And that's a lot. It's full on, and that I think it did a good job of showing that. But as a reader, I definitely just kept thinking this was filler. I want to go back to the main story. So that's it's not really a criticism as such as I see there are benefits to including that story, and you can't just neglect that part of the story. But I feel like maybe that could have been a separate story. I would have rather that had been maybe a separate short story. As much as I'm not a big fan of the shorter stories, I prefer longer ones, but just as a personal preference, I would have rather nothing had really broken up the main narrative here. It's very well written. It is definitely worth reading, and I will say no more. It's very eye opening about certain situations that are addressed in the book. It's very unpredictable. As I said, generally very well written, and absolutely one foster carer memoir that I thoroughly, thoroughly recommend.